Welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews, folks. Hope you're all having a good evening right now. Well, if it's evening where you are. Anyway, I'm here with GFan84. We're going to be talking the Underworld series, a franchise that had a real strong female lead, not the script they've been pushing in Hollywood nowadays. Anyway, GFan, give your channel a little plug before we get going.
Oh yeah, I'm the GFan84, also known as TJ. I'm on YouTube and also mostly on Twitter. But my Twitter account's Kaiji4284. So, but that's just me.
Yeah. All right. So basically, for those of you who don't know what Underworld is,
how could you not?
It is a film franchise that starred Kate Beckinsale as the lead, done by her husband, Len Wiseman. I don't think it was her husband at the time. They had Kevin Grievous in the first one and the third one. He died in the first one, sadly. But he came back for the third one because that was a prequel.
Yep.
And it delved into a war between vampires and werewolves, which they called Lycans, as in lycanthrope.
Yeah.
And it was a very gothic and very dark kind of movie. It was definitely not for kids. These movies were rated R. And I absolutely loved the fact that they were.
Yes.
But yeah, they also, or quick overview, when they started the Underworld series, it didn't have the mysticism in it. It wasn't mythical vampires and werewolves. They really they explain in the movies that that vampirism and lycanthropy was caused from a virus. Or a plague, so to speak.
Yes.
And there are idiots outside with snowmobiles. That annoys the hell out of me. But anyway, we're going to be going over all the stories. Basically, I will carry on the fifth one because, unfortunately, GFan has not seen the fifth movie.
I did not too yet.
But yeah. So, what was your favorite part about the first movie?
Oh, geez, that's has to be the first time you see Ray's transform in the subway there. I was hooked after that scene. I'm like, wow, they did phenomenal with the Lycan design and all that. I was like, wow, now that's awesome.
Yeah, Pat Totopoulos actually did very good creature design for them. Or for the movies.
Yes.
And one of the things that he prided himself in, because I actually watch special features of the movies that I get, and one of the things that he prides himself in is the fact that that he didn't want the werewolves to be more dog-like. He wanted them to slightly be more cat-like, which was an interesting take. And you know what? It worked. They also did people in the suits. They had crazy freaking rigging for wall running and ceiling running and whatnot for the werewolves. I mean, it was a movie that was very ambitious, and I thought it did very well. I didn't really check the box office, but
they actually greenlit the sequels right away because just the amount of tickets they sold in Canada alone were actually doing the second movie and then the prequel movie.
Yeah, because they did the first movie in Budapest.
Yes.
Or Budapest, however you pronounce it. But yeah, one of the cool things that I liked about these movies were they had people in suits. I mean, yes, they did do CGI, but they still had people in suits. I mean, the looks of the werewolves were great. I mean, they weren't too hairy and whatnot.
Right.
The only problem I did have with the Underworld series was the inconsistency of the looks of the werewolves, because and we'll get into the differences later on as we move down the road,
especially in the third one. It really
it changed wickedly. But the first one, one of the cool things that they did with Kate Beckinsale, Kevin Grievous, and all the other actors, they trained them with the guns so much that they had them shooting without blinking. And that was one of the coolest things, because if you see, movies like The Matrix and Terminator, everybody's wearing sunglasses because you don't want to see them blinking all the time when they're shooting guns off, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the things that Len Wiseman actually says in the special features. He's like, I didn't want them wearing sunglasses. This is going to be at night because, well, vampires can't go out in the day. So we're going to have to show these people shooting guns. And Kate Beckinsale did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one thing in the special features where she was dancing around with loaded guns in her freaking hand. And she's like, I'm sorry, I just felt like a little ballerina girl. And it's like, and everybody is like, whoa, stop. It's like, yeah, big safety breach there.
Kate. Yep. Yeah.
But man, the movie was freaking phenomenal. I mean, it starts off, basically, they were tracking a human, Michael Corbin.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know why they're tracking him. All you know is that from the monologue, it's been a centuries-long war between vampires and werewolves. The moon was no longer in control of werewolves' transformations.
Yes.
Older, powerful Lycans could change at will. They learned to channel their rage and whatnot, which is a line in the second movie, which is actually a very cool line.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Tannis was also a great character. But before we get to that, we're on the first movie.
Yeah,
I saw the unrated edition or the director's cut or whatever, actually like 2 months ago when I got it, or when I got all the Underworld movies for my digital library. And I gotta say, I'm glad it did, because they changed a couple of things here and there. The editing and whatnot was definitely changed up a bit. Plus, they added some stuff in. I mean, because when the second movie takes place, it takes place like very, very shortly after, like maybe a day after the events of the first movie.
It's like right away,
Yeah. And Marcus, who is one of the vampire elders, there's 3 elders in the vampire coven: Amelia, Victor, and Marcus. Marcus, in the first movie, you only get very little information on him. He's a descendant of Corvinus, as they call him, and whatnot. But you find out that about Alexander Corvinus, who was the first immortal.
Yep.
And he lived through a plague that ravaged his village. He was a warlord.
Yep.
And the plague didn't kill him. His genetic code actually managed to mold the virus of that plague to his benefit, and he became immortal.
Yes.
In 2 years, or a few years later, he would father at least 2 children as what's his name? The Dr. Lycan.
Oh, yeah, Doctor, I know who you're talking about. One of the glasses. Yeah.
Yeah. He would explain the story of Corvinus. And basically he says he fathered at least 2 children with the same trait.
Right.
And Victor would say the sons of the Corvinus clan, one bitten by a bat, one by a wolf. He's actually shaking his head back and forth. One to walk the lonely road of mortality as a human. It's a ridiculous legend, nothing more. And Bill Nye, oh my gosh, he is a great freaking actor.
He can do just about any role, honestly.
Oh my gosh, man! When I saw him as Hephaestus in Wrath of the Titans, I nearly shit myself laughing.
Yeah,
and
then he's done everything from like comedy to drama.
He's in the Harry Potter series.
Yeah,
he's in
Shaun of the Dead.
Yep,
that was one of my favorites. Yeah.
They think he's a freaking zombie, so they're like, we're gonna go there, kill him,
take
mom out, Go for a pint. There we go. It's like, oh my gosh, it was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, he plays the Minister of Magic in freaking Harry Potter. He plays the Hephaestus, the god of Forge and whatnot, in Wrath of Titans. He is a well-rounded theater stage actor. He also played in Pirates of the Caribbean as Davy Crockett, or Davy Jones rather, not Davy Crockett. But yeah, Squid Face.
Yep.
I mean, it's like, holy crap, the dude is just so well-rounded an actor.
Yes.
And you can believe everything he does, man. I mean, you believe that he is like a 1,000-plus-year-old vampire in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, the regality he has when he is woken up and whatnot, which he was woken up a full century ahead of schedule, and it pissed him off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some of the best lines came from him in this movie.
Oh, yeah. And he's not even in it that long.
So what was your favorite parts? Ooh. Exactly. He wasn't even in it that long, yet he almost stole the whole freaking movie.
Yeah, exactly. And what
was your favorite parts?
Oh, geez.
Pertaining to Victor?
Oh, well, with Victor, my favorite part is probably showing how he can one-handedly take on a Lycan. He can one-handedly take on.
Oh yeah,
it's
that was Reyes that he took on too.
Yeah, yeah. And
because it's like, after Reyes had killed, I think it was Soren, who was actually. How you doing, Cayman? And Happy. What is the topic of today's live stream? We're talking about the Underworld franchise, the movies with Kate Beckinsale, the vampires and the Lycans and whatnot. We're currently talking about the first one. Glad you guys could join us. And but yeah, man, the guy that was doing or that played Soren, the guy with the silver whips that was fighting Reyes. Yeah. He is actually one of these stunt performers and stunt coordinators.
Yeah,
I did know that. And it was pretty cool to know too, because I mean, Len Wiseman was putting people from his crew into this movie. He had crew members as freaking vampires and werewolves and all sorts of things, man. I mean, I think it was Pierce. It was either Pierce or Taylor. He's also a guy that was in one of the suits to be a werewolf and whatnot. He oh my gosh, man. There was just so much into this. I mean, it was really well done, the movies. Yeah. I mean, they have flaws, but
it was very much a passion project.
Exactly, and it was.
You could tell he was really passionate about this, from the get-go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second. I got to mute myself for a second.
All right.
Oh, had to sneeze.
No.
But then they basically, so they set the lore up after because Selene found out what why they were after the human, and there's the werewolf called Lucian, or the Lycan called Lucian, who was supposed to be dead, but because there was a vampire coup coming in, the vampire that's basically in charge of the affairs of that particular coven, Craven, his name was.
Yes.
He actually was conspiring with the Lycans, and if Victor was ever aware of this, he would have slaughtered him in like that.
Right. Oh yeah.
Because Victor is a very malicious and very vicious ruler. Yeah. I mean, yes, he has the regality, but he is by the book.
Don't piss him off. Yeah. Don't piss him off.
I mean, when he was woke up, and he finds out that he was woken up ahead of schedule, he calls in Selene because Selene wakes him up because she fears, or she is devoted to Victor at this point.
Yeah.
She is, because Victor turned her into a vampire and she thought that the Lycans had killed her family hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
And whatnot. And Victor basically fools the hell out of her, saying that it was the Lycans when it was actually Victor himself that killed her family.
Yeah, because he didn't follow his own rules as far as human.
And Craven points this out to her later on. It's like, he never could follow his own rules. he couldn't abide the taste of livestock. It's like, shit, man. He went really brutal
to
with
get a bit
truth.
more insight in the book, they go a bit more into detail about Craven and Selene. They were supposed to be an item, and it was like arranged to be like the next successors. That's why, more so in the book, like, he's more obsessed with her because they're supposed to be the next generation of the royal bloodline kind of thing, because essentially Victor takes her in as his daughter, so kind of they were going to be the next in succession should anything happen.
That Selene didn't like him.
Oh no. And so also to give more clarity for people who don't know much about the movie, and it's actually done and talked about in the book a bit more. So when if you had a fight between if you had a fight between vampire just without any weapons and a werewolf, the Lycan would win more times than not, because what's explained in the book is that the Lycans more so than vampires. Vampires have faster reflexes, but Lycans have what they almost call like a hyper instinct, so they know where they're going to, try to run off to. So they'll immediately catch them, and it's like, I mean, the book goes in a bit more brutal detail about like the war that they talked about, where Craven was supposed to have killed Lucian, but he didn't. All he did was take off that branding tattoo that he had.
Mm-hmm.
So
let me just address Ambassador. It's okay, Ambassador. You got to do you, and real life always trumps or things like this. So. Dude, definitely. It's completely understandable.
Yep.
Now, going back to what you were saying, with the vampires versus werewolf thing, it is an interesting dynamic. I mean, you actually see what happens in the first few minutes of the first movie with a vampire and a werewolf. Mm-hmm. This vampire was, I believe, or Nathaniel said Nigel, or was it Rigel or Nigel?
Not sure. I think it was Nigel.
Yeah, Nigel. He was the one that fought Reyes in the beginning. It's like, dude, you're seriously going to take on a freaking werewolf barehanded?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're all like growling and hissing at each other.
Yep.
Basically sizing each other up, and then freaking Reyes just goes at him and basically takes him out.
Yep.
I mean, it really displays the strength of the werewolves and the vampires. I mean, the vampires, they had to develop. Oh, God, 1 second. Okay.
You okay?
Yeah, I just had to phlegm.
Oh,
but
gotcha.
it shows you that the vampires had to basically develop weapons and better weapons. And thank you, Ambassador. Yep, it will be up for you guys to catch on catch up later. But yeah, man, one of the things I did like was that they had a female lead. This movie, or vampires, by definition, are badass. Doesn't matter if they're male or female. There's always going to be that attraction. And Kate Beckinsale, she was a newcomer at the time, I believe, especially to the action scene.
Yeah. The only big role she had before this, like as far as big one, was Pearl Harbor, and that was it.
I haven't actually seen Pearl Harbor yet.
It's kind of boring, but
it's a romance.
Yeah, it's a romance more so than a war story. It's already PG-13, so that gives you an idea of what you'll see. But Yeah, that was she had done a lot of British TV shows beforehand. I know that.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. You know.
But yeah, so moving on into this one, basically Craven, he wants Celine. He can't have Celine because Celine does not like him. She kind of gets a crush on the human that they were following, or that the werewolves were following. And then she finds out, or she goes tracking the human down, and she's literally grabs him by the throat, puts him against the wall. Why are they following you? Or why are they after you and shit? And he's like, who are the... He can't even fucking breathe. He's like, doesn't even know what the hell's going on and whatnot. And it's, oh my gosh, it was, what's his name? The one that plays Michael Corbin. Scott somebody.
Scott Speedman.
Yeah, Speedman. It's like, well, he did a great job as I mean, a lot of people say that he wasn't a good actor, and it's like, Speedman was actually pretty good in the movie. I honestly,
well, not just that, but
he played a perfect character.
Yeah, he's the poor guy has no idea what's going on. He doesn't even know his own lineage, and like now, both of these powerful forces are converging on him, and it's like
exactly. It's like, how would you handle that?
Yeah, how would you? Well, and also the fact that you've just found out that both vampires and lycans are real.
Werewolves exist. Yeah.
That's
how you doing, Soul Assassin? I mean, yeah, when she was in leather and what was it too? Spandex, so to speak, or the shinier kind of leather looking stuff. I mean, you gotta admit, man, she looked pretty hot in that. But yeah, Speedman played a perfect character of how he played it well, that he didn't it's like, what the fuck is going on? You know?
Yeah.
And then freaking Lucian, who's played by Michael Sheen, a fucking brilliant actor, man. Michael Sheen is a great actor. And it's like, dude, this was the first movie I'd seen him in. And I thought he was originally related to the Sheens, but it's like, no, he's not related to those Sheens.
Nope.
But it's like, and it's good that he's not, because Charlie and Martin are, well, Charlie's nuts. But anyway, but yeah, you could tell that as a werewolf, even though he never changes in the movie, Lucian, that is, you don't see him change at all in the movie.
Nope, you don't.
But you still get the weight that he carries, the weight and authority that he carries. I mean, in the beginning where he fires out the shotgun, comes in, you're all acting like a pack of rabid dogs. Yeah. And that, gentleman, simply will not do. Not if you want to beat the vampires on their own ground. Not if you want to survive at all. Yeah. I mean, he just... Yeah.
He's another character that's not that much in it, but you can feel the weight of his authority.
You could tell that he was important.
Yes.
He had importance. And everybody always thinks that when this movie comes out, you automatically think that the Lycans are the bad guys. You actually don't realize.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
The Lycans aren't bad.
No, you find out through the story.
Vampires were not on the up and up.
No. And
the vampires basically were slave owners, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the other thing. It kind of switches gears, because when they finally capture Michael, the Lycans do, and Lucian actually kind of like tries to ease his suffering a bit. He's like, let me tell you what really happened. Yeah. And since he was bitten by Lucian, he got Lucian's memories.
Yep.
And then that's how he realizes. Yep. And that's how he realizes what started the war, which was when both Lucian
and Lucian and Sonia, how they had an affair and whatnot, and Speedman or Michael didn't know, but but during this time, Victor was already awakened by Celine. Because she feared that Craven was in league with Lucian. She did her own digging and whatnot, because digging into the past is forbidden, but she didn't care at this point. Right. She was wondering why Craven was so lax against the Lycans and whatnot.
Yeah.
And you also find out that I mean, freaking Craven and Lucian are meeting up together and shit.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
while they're doing that, she's investigating, and it's like, huh, okay, there's some weird shit going on. And so she basically wakes up Victor, and they explain even more lore because they have Kate Beckinsale narrating, where only elders have the ability to carry their blood memories in a single coherent vision, a detailed record of their reign. Because at this point, it's Amelia's turn to reign, but her reign is coming to an end. So Marcus was supposed to wake up. She was going to wake up Marcus. Mm-hmm. There was a whole ceremony that was coming and whatnot, and it's all regal stuff in today's time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's just, I mean, they sent envoys and all sorts of shit. Yep. It's like real royal crap going on.
Oh yeah, but it's very well done. That's the thing about
it was.
Movie. Every shot is memorable. Like, it's very well done.
It is indeed. I mean, Khan, the armsmith of the vampires, is like, I'm like, dude, he's badass, but you barely even see him in the movie.
Yeah.
It's like, because the whole thing is that in the beginning of the movie, they find out that the werewolves or the Lycans had developed ultraviolet ammunition.
Yeah.
And anybody who knows anything about vampires, ultraviolet is deadly to vampires.
Yep.
So it's basically sunlight bullets, so to speak.
Yep. And so to counter that, they use liquid silver.
Silver nitrate.
So, yeah.
And it's great stuff, too, because if a werewolf gets shot with a normal silver bullet, it can prevent the change depending on how strong this lichen is.
Yeah.
It can prevent the change for a few minutes to a few hours, depending on the strength. But if you don't get it out, it can kill you.
Yes. It's like a poison.
And you see them digging bullets out, ripping things out of himself, rays and whatnot.
Oh, yeah. And then Lucian can just push them out of his body.
Oh, yeah.
Showing how strong he is.
Bullet burping.
Yeah. And it's like...
But, it's pretty cool shit.
Yeah. But one of the things, too, that... going back to the story, you find out that, as you were saying, Craven is in league with Lucian. Mm-hmm. They assassinate Amelia. They assassinate her. They let the Lycans pretty much tear up the place. And then
they bleed her dry.
Yep. Now, the book actually goes into a bit more explanation of why they did that. Because the argument, they said what they were trying to do was if this worked with, with Michael already having the werewolf blood, they wanted to give him the vampire blood, but from an elder to make him even stronger. That was the whole goal of that, but it didn't work that way.
Yeah, sadly, because I mean, Selene is powerful because she is an older vampire, but she's not as powerful as an elder.
Yeah, elders were pretty much like the first of that Marcus changed.
Yeah, I mean, Marcus is revealed to be the first vampire in the second movie.
Yes, exactly.
And but yeah, Victor or Selene, or no, Victor is awakened, and I just love his first line when Erica, the vampire woman that's obsessed with Craven and really wants to ride him and all that shit, basically wants to get the pound chick on with Craven. He's like, or she's like, I'm sorry, I tried to warn her. She doesn't listen. She never listens. I should have told you sooner. Told me what? Her human, Michael. He's not a human at all. He's a Lycan. Yep. What? What's this ruckus?
Yeah.
And he's like, that's not supposed to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
How you doing, Ziga? Do you want to come on in? But yeah, it's oh my gosh, man.
Yeah, it just has so many great moments and lines to it, and I love the lore to it because they really did a good job at doing a coherent
They set
lore, you
up the
can
lore
understand.
very
Yeah.
well in the first movie.
Yes.
They really did. And it was just brilliantly set up. I mean, Amelia was in the opening of the second one, Soul Assassin. We're going to get to that soon.
Yeah.
And, oh my gosh, man, when he wakes up, when Victor is looking still decrepit from waking up, he's still getting, I mean, he has all the blood tubes being fed into his back and whatnot. Oh, man, hope you feel better, Adiga. It's all right, though. Sorry to hear that you're not feeling so hot. But yeah, man, he's like, do you know why I've been awakened, servant? No, my lord, but I'll soon find out. You mean when you find her?
Yeah.
Yes, my lord. You must let, and this shows you how wise Victor is. You must let her come to me, because he knows that Celine will go to him.
Yeah.
And it's like, we have a great many things to discuss. She's shown me a great many disturbing, the way that he says it, she's shown me a great many disturbing things that will be dealt with soon enough. And he just goes on berating Craven. This coven has become weak, decadent. Perhaps I should have left someone else in charge of my affairs. He just, but oh my God, it's just so great, man. And then he's, great.
Yeah, again, great acting by
Bill Nye.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Bill Nye the Science Guy.
No, yeah.
This guy is a British English actor. He's a great freaking actor too.
Yes.
He's miles ahead of Bill Nye the Science Guy in every aspect of the word.
Every aspect, yeah. But one of the so what we find out that Michael's going to eventually change into a werewolf, and the process is a bit slower, but still he's going to change. And Celine pretty much kind of like locks him up at one point to keep him from like leaving.
He's the proof.
Yeah, exactly. And it again, going back to the book, she was attracted to him like from the very beginning, and she actually even said about when he goes to save that woman who was hit in the crossfire, she actually states that even some vampires wouldn't do that, So it's like it was showing that he's very heroic in that sense. He
is also a doctor.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And
they actually explain in the unedited version, or the uncut edition, that he actually has her go to the hospital and he actually performs a surgery on her too.
Oh, okay. Wow,
which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, but so getting to the end there, you see Amelia, she gets assassinated, and then you see that Craven goes to talk to Lucian once more, and by this time Craven's on the run. He knows he's been discovered.
Yeah, because Selena brought in the doctor werewolf that was sent to get Michael.
Yeah,
and she realized he's still alive, and it's like, well, if he can't testify, your ass is going to. Fix him up and just drags. She literally drags his ass and throws him in there, and he tells the story of Corvinus to them and what the werewolves were planning and whatnot. And then then Khan comes in, finding out, or tells them that Amelia's been assassinated, and they bled her dry. And jackass doctor basically says it's already begun, and you see the power of Victor when he just punches him to kill him.
Yes,
rips off almost half of his freaking face, man.
Oh yeah,
but you see all the blood going out too.
Yeah,
which is important later on.
Yeah, exactly. And so then they go down to the Lycan's lair, and while this is happening, Craven, who's pretty much betrays everyone, ends up shooting Lucian with those. Yeah, and
because Craven's a coward.
Yeah, he is.
Back then he may have been a good warrior and whatnot, but now he's more of a bureaucrat and he's a coward. Exactly. He's like, is there another way out? I guess it didn't occur to you that you might actually have to bleed to pull off this little coup.
Yep.
And freaking, if he had let Lucian go, because Lucian loaded up some UV bullets into a freaking Desert Eagle, and he's like, don't even think about leaving, but then he shoots him with the silver nitrate. It's like, dude, if you would have just let him go, he would have shot Victor and killed him.
Yeah.
He would have killed Victor right then and there.
Yep.
He wouldn't have hesitated. He wouldn't have gone the whole honorable bullshit. He would have said, I'm not fucking with you this time. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all she wrote. But freaking douchebag Craven had to shoot him and whatnot.
Yeah.
And he realized he couldn't change because and he couldn't take out the bullet. In the in the extended edition, he doesn't pass out as quickly as they think he does. You actually see him trying to change with his hand, and he's like, not yet, just a little longer. And they actually extend out the gun battle and whatnot a little further, so they can allow small pieces like that to happen.
Oh, okay. But,
and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And then, Celine, while this battle is taking place, Reyes comes back with the blood. He sees Lucian pass out, and he goes and strikes Soren, who's and then comes out the whips.
Yep. Oh
the minute I saw that, I'm thinking to myself, you're going to whip a black man who turns into a werewolf. Yeah, that's really going to work out. It's like, wow.
Holy shit. But this was back before they even started doing the whole identity politics.
Yeah, okay. You could actually get away with this. Yeah, you could get away with that.
Get away with it today.
Oh, no. You would never get away with that scene.
I know. But it's like, how dare you whip a black man? It's like, dude, I don't think they care. Werewolf.
Yeah, he just and then he slaughters him. But
it's, oh my gosh, it was just
that's one cool scene. Yeah, that scene was just.
I mean, the way that he was whipping or flourishing the
whips,
water,
in
the water and whatnot, or smacking the whips together, and then just doing the whole flourish and whatnot. And oh my gosh, it was just great. It was well done and whatnot. But then Reyes kills him and starts ripping into him, but then he senses big vampire because Victor comes in.
Yeah.
And oh my god, he's like, okay, I want to get a piece of this guy.
Yeah, he snaps his neck right then and there. It's like,
he's like, boom, grabs his arm, and then puts his arm down, snaps his freaking neck, pulls out his sword, stabs Reyes. That's the end of Reyes. And it's like,
wow,
such an ignominious ending for Reyes, and that's just bad.
But at the same time, you felt bad for him, but at the same time, it's like he shows what kind of
just
vampire
how badass he is.
Yeah, because every other scene you see, the vampire on a hand-to-hand battle with the Lycan loses. So
yeah, exactly.
That just proves how powerful Victor really is.
And then it comes up.
Yeah.
And then the big reveal comes up when Celine comes in or frees Michael. He's like, I know what started a war, and they start to move, but then they find Craven hiding. He sees Michael. First thing he does, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. Shoots
him with the silver nitrate.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's enough. You're coming with me. How you doing, Mr. Pete? And whatnot. And she's like, I hope I see or live long enough to see Victor kill you and whatnot. And he's like, I bet you do. But let me tell you a little something about your beloved Dark Father. And then he reveals the truth to her that Victor killed her parents and her family and her sister and her kid or her nieces and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
And she thinks it's lies, of course, because, it's look who's telling her this shit. He's like, believe what you want. Now, come on. And she's like, not going with it. So he's ready to kill her, but Lucian steps in.
Yep.
And tells her to bite him or to bite Michael. And he does. Or she does. Yeah. And Craven then finally puts an end to Lucian.
Yeah.
But he's like, hey, man, you may have killed me, cousin, but my will is done regardless.
Yeah, exactly. And
because he wanted a hybrid.
Exactly. And it's very interesting how he calls him cousin, because technically the two bloodlines are cousins, if you really think about it.
Yeah.
They're but what I really liked about that scene then is, like you said, throughout the movie and from watching trailers and all that, you think like the Lycans are the bad guys, and then you realize, oh no, wait, the vampires were slave owners, and Victor killed his own daughter to keep a hybrid from being born. It's like, wow.
Because Lucian explains it to Michael after Michael had told him that he saw the whole thing as if he was there, and he's like, we were slaves once. We were daylight guardians of the vampires, and I was born in servitude. I mean, I harbored no ill will. They even took a vampire from a bride. It was forbidden. And Victor feared a blending of the species. Feared it so much that he killed his own daughter for loving me.
Yeah.
And at the point, he doesn't really say that she was pregnant in the first movie, but you do know that later on in the third movie, which is the prequel, that he did hear what she said when she said, call off your men for the sake of your grandchild.
Yeah.
So you realize that harbors a lot of hate for Victor.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why he wouldn't have talked first or hesitated. He would have just shot Victor and killed him.
Yep.
Victor literally took everything from Lucian.
Yep.
And he literally took everything from Celine. And when he grabs Celine, throws her aside to get to Michael, because she sees him feeding on him and whatnot, and he's pissed off because he missed Craven, and he's like, he then sees that he's hurt her, so to speak.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, time to play the fatherly thing. And she's like, it wasn't the Lycans, it was you. And that's when Victor completely he drops the charade.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, he drops it at first. But he's like, yes, I have taken from you, but I have given you so much more. Is it not a fair trade? The life I have offered, the gift of immortality. But she fires right back. The life of your daughter, your own flesh and blood. And that's when he's finally decided he's had enough. He goes over to Lucian, grabs the pendant that was around his daughter's neck at one time, which plays a part in the second movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And
yeah,
and he's like, I loved my daughter, but the abomination growing in her womb was a betrayal of me and the coven. I did what was necessary to protect the species, as I am forced to do yet again. Now, while he is going through this, Michael, who is a Lycan, but also was just bitten by a vampire, is now becoming a hybrid. He is turning into a hybrid. You see him going through the different stages. At first, it looks like he's going to be an actual werewolf, snout and all.
Then it reverts again.
Yeah, it reverts and whatnot. And oh my gosh, the process that he talked about. Because Len Wiseman did a mock-up of what he wanted the hybrid to look like, which was very fine hairs all over the face, sort of like Teen Wolf, but not really.
Oh, okay,
and sort of like Stuart Little, and they have this process called flocking. But the way that they would have done it was they would have had to jam a diode up your ass and crank up the juice and flock hair to you, and it's like, we aren't doing that to people.
Yeah, really.
It was just awesome, man, when he said that in the special features. But oh my gosh, when he pulls the sword and Michael's eyes open, and he goes out to check where he is, and he's
gone.
Where the fuck is he? Like, then you hear the kind of snarl, and then you see, oh shit. You see in Victor's eyes recognition of what is going on.
Yes.
He hybrid. This is a new threat, but I'm not backing down.
Yes.
And you then get a taste of how fast Michael is, because you see as soon as Michael pushes him out the thing, Michael's right there when he lands.
Yeah, he's incredibly. He has the fast reflexes of a vampire, but also the feral nature of a werewolf. So it's both. Yeah, and I actually really love the design, because also you notice the eyes are different. That was the big thing.
Yeah,
the hybrid eyes
are
black. Yeah, and it just really does it. You see both power and speed with what
you see
become.
a perfect blend.
Yes.
Of vampire power and werewolf power.
Yeah.
But that's still not enough going up against Victor. Victor
is trained.
Gets his ass kicked, sure. But Victor also gets some solid shots in. Michael is new to this. Michael is not. He's not, and that is another great thing that they do in this movie.
Yeah.
Yes, Michael is powerful. He is he's unique and whatnot. The child would have been an abomination. Well, in his eyes. Yeah. But they wouldn't have known the capabilities. But anyway, Michael is not a fighter. He's going off pure instinct of how to fight right now. And he's fighting a vampire that is 1,000+ years old, who has been slaughtering werewolves for centuries.
Well, not just that, but they even explained that Victor was a warlord before, in his human form. So, he was known as battle.
Malicious knight.
Yeah, exactly. So all he's known is battle. So that's why he's so good at it.
And then he actually has him in the whole headlock, ready to kill him. Selena has already fought up against other vampires, killing her own kind, which is a grave offense against the coven.
Yeah.
Because when Victor stands by after giving Michael a decent hard uppercut, Michael's just starting to get up when the other vampires or death dealers come in. We never covered what a death dealer is, but basically what a death dealer is a vampire, is basically a vampire SWAT team, so to speak.
Yeah.
They're the best of the best when it comes to hunting and killing lycans.
Yep.
And 3 death dealers come in, start firing on Michael, and she just comes in and starts kicking their asses. And she quickly dispatches each and every one of them.
Yes.
But then Victor comes in, basically just swift punch right to the side of her face. She grabs the sword and just like literally from here up here. It's not a decapitation, it's half a decapitation.
Yeah. Now, it's kind of funny. In the, like I said, I got to read the book. In the book, it gave a bit more of a dramatic fight between Michael and Victor, to where there's actual shock waves being felt from both of them trading blows, because both of them are just so powerful. In the but they even explain in the book, because he's still trying to figure this power out, he is going on instinct, but Victor's a tactician. That's why he's able to get the upper hand.
And they did it brilliantly. I mean, as limited as they have a budget, they did it well. And right after she kills Victor and whatnot, basically what is not shown is Craven witnessed what happened.
Yes.
So he knows all of his plans are fucked. He can never have Selene because, Selene doesn't want him. But now also Selene has just killed a vampire elder. Her life is forfeit at this point. She had just killed a vampire elder. It's like, nope, you are done with the vampires, man. They'll kill you on sight. And she is now basically with Michael, who is the keeper of Lucian's memories. So he knows about the blood feud and whatnot, even though he can't access it at will at first, but he learns and whatnot, of course.
One of the other things that was a good touch too was when you see the other werewolves, they're hidden. You only see their eyes. But then when Michael looks at them, they back away because they realize, no, he's something else. He can completely outclass them.
I mean, when he's looking around and you see the other werewolves and they're backing away. They're like, I don't want a piece of this. This dude was just going toe to toe with a fucking elder, and it's like we don't stand a chance.
Nope.
And that's basically the end of the first movie. But then they go back to the crypt where the dead Lycan is, the doctor, and Selena is delivering the monologue, and you learn that you learn from Victor that Marcus is a descendant of Corvinus. So he has the blood genes, or he has the same genetics as Michael. So he could be a hybrid. And when they show that the Lycan's blood gets in his mouth, his eyes open up, his eyes go black, which are which is indicative to the hybrid.
Yes. Yeah. And thus ends
that's when they ended it. Yeah.
And what's so great about that ending too is where you get more of the narration. She says, "I have now become the hunted." So it's like, like now both sides are going to be gunning for them because, even though Lucian's gone, there's still a lot of werewolves or Lycans around, And so it's kind of interesting. I just love the movie in general. Like, there's like just so much you can take from that, just that one movie, and it's great. But like you were saying, that final shot with learning that he can become a hybrid too. It's like, oh, I see where they're going. It's like, oh, I see where they're going.
Yep, and then they set it up with. Hold on, I gotta send some or address something here. That's not part of the chat, or that's a friend of mine. He needs clarification on something. So give me 1 second here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, back. Somebody or a friend of mine just basically sent me the thing about Jason Momoa touching his kid and whatnot. It's like, that's old and it's debunked.
Yeah,
that was old and debunked, like early last year, debunked. But anyway, moving on to Underworld 2, they give you a taste of before Celine. Jesus. I love my ringtone, but God damn it. Okay, good. Anyway, they get like before Celine, and they're basically just as this war is starting. This scene that takes place in the beginning of Underworld 2 Evolution actually literally takes place before the events of Underworld 3 Rise of the Lycans.
Exactly.
Because it's showing the William or the feral power of William and his or in William's spawn, as they call him. Now, this also shows the inconsistencies as well, because they show in their upgraded design for the Lycans, which has more fur and wider feet and whatnot.
Longer snout too is a big one.
Slightly longer snout, yep. Yeah. And so it's like, okay, so you could pass these guys off as Lycans that can't change back to human form, which are what happens when William turns humans. They can't change, or they can't go back to being a human until they are killed. Now, it's explained later on why other Lycans later on can do so, but we're going to get to that soon. And the three. I'm hearing myself.
You are?
Yeah, I am. Okay, now I'm not. Hey, open-minded, do you want to jump in? Because he has all 5. It's like, dude, we're discussing the movies right now. If you want to jump in, I'll be more than happy to send a link in. But yeah, Amelia, Marcus, and Victor are all basically trying to stop William. And you find out that William and Marcus are twins and whatnot. And it's pretty cool. And you also find out that Victor was deceived by Marcus.
Yeah.
He gave him a very specific threat, so to speak. Exactly. And he's like, if you die, we all die, and you have to, I'm not putting you at risk. He's like, I could stay and fight. You need my help. He's like, I need you alive.
Yeah.
And so he hears William roaring in the woods because Amelia and the Death Dealers are not trying to take William peacefully, so to speak.
Nope.
And he also said he must not be harmed. And Victor said, I gave you my word, did I not? But William must be controlled. And William, you could tell that Victor is never on the up and up. He's always willing to betray and whatnot.
Yeah. And,
And, yeah, you find out that frickin' Amelia was on Victor's side the whole time. Yes. I mean, he's like, no, leave him be. Basically, Marcus could have calmed William down. He could have he could have stopped William if he wanted to.
Yeah, exactly.
But because of the Death Dealers being there and shooting all the damn things through his arms and legs and whatnot, and they're trying to control him, you also see frickin' Amelia saying more, and it's like, what the fuck, woman?
Yeah.
I mean, you see Marcus literally, he's like, what the fuck? And she just looks at him like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I mean, these are strong female characters, folks.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not about hating on men. It's not about them being more powerful than the men. It's about them being powerful, but also equal.
Yeah, and that's the key. Equal.
Exactly. And that's how you maintain a good balance in these movies. And that is why Underworld franchise was a great freaking franchise, because the females in the movies were powerful.
Yes.
But they weren't treating men like shit. Well, except for in the fifth movie, there was that one bitch. But we'll get to that later. I mean, the second movie, or basically after they pulled William down and pacified him, so to speak, through force, Victor catches up with Marcus, and he's like, he was not to be harmed. Place him in my charge as we agreed, or you'll pay. And he's like, and you're going to have to learn your place. Your brother is entirely beyond control. Your sympathy for him is foolish. It'll be done my way. And he's like, you know the consequences if you murder me or William. And he's like, if you so much as speak his name again, you will have chosen that future for him. Basically, Victor is laying the law down. He is telling he is basically telling Marcus that your authority is not as grand as you think it is.
Marcus
you may be the first. You may be the first, but you are not in command.
Yeah, Marcus pretty much created his own monster in that very moment. It's like it's almost like he doomed himself because
but you can also tell that Marcus is weighing his options, the way he's looking at certain ones, and then the way he kind of looks at the one behind his back, like, I could take each and every one of you motherfuckers out, and it wouldn't make a difference to me.
Yeah.
Well, looks like we got Scotty boy.
All right.
What up,
How you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
All right. How about yourself, G-Fan?
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Talking Underworld?
Yeah, I know. We all talk about the third one because I've still yet to see that one.
No,
we
we're
haven't
on
gotten to that yet.
Okay.
We're on the second.
I have seen the second one, but it's been an awfully long time, to be honest. I just haven't.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about all five.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Now,
But the second one, we just got past the intro of it, basically.
Yes.
And then there's the whole thing with Celine. She goes through the recap, so to speak.
Yeah.
And you also find out that Marcus asks Victor, he's like, "What's my will, or what is thy will, my lord?" Right. And he's like, "Imprisonment for all time, far from you," because he realizes that, or Victor's not stupid. No. He knows that if William is not imprisoned, and William is left with Marcus, Marcus could overthrow Victor.
Yes, very easily.
He knows he could do it.
Yep.
So that is why he decided to do it. Now, what they don't really explain is how long before this or these events and the events that take place in Underworld 3, Rise of the Lycans, because Tanis says that the Winter Revolution's escape, your father knew too much, and whatnot. I mean, Celine's father created the cell or the prison for William.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is learned later in the movie or revealed by Tanis, who was the records keeper of the vampires.
Yeah.
And whatnot.
Yeah, the time frame is a bit sketchy.
Exactly, and that was another thing that kind of was. It was kind of confusing at the time. Still is, because you really don't get a solid timeline.
No, you really don't know when the past events are really taking place. You can kind of judge.
They do say that the first or the opening is like 1602 or something like that, or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like medieval time kind of thing.
That's where I figured it took place in it, but I couldn't remember what the clear timeline was for these films.
Exactly. And after he conscribes Celine's father to build the prison, well, her father knew too much, so yeah.
So that's what. So it was a double whammy. He knew too much.
Yeah, it was a double cross and a double whammy and all that shit.
Yeah, because while he was at it, he could feast on human blood. So it's like, might as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a win-win for Victor.
Yeah.
But now that we're back to present day, she's basically saying her only hope is to awaken Marcus and try to explain everything that's happened.
Right.
And before because she knows that Craven's going to try killing Marcus. That's the only thing he has left.
Yep.
It's like, fuck, 2 of vampire elders are dead, and if I want to rule, I'm going to have to kill this one.
Yeah.
And, well, he gets there, he opens up the crypt and whatnot. The the coffin is busted open.
Yeah.
And then he starts hearing the noises all around, and the floor starts to bust up, and he just busts out, screeching, wings, and talons, and slaughter. And it's like, holy shit. This is, when I saw that in the theaters, when Marcus is just going ape shit on the freaking death dealers with his talons and wings and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's like, no wonder he wanted to kill him in his sleep. Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah. And, when he has Craven pinned up there.
Yeah.
He's like Craven's trying to wiggle out of it, saying about, Amelia
he's trying to warm his up.
And instead Marcus is like, Victor deserved it. It's like, he's like, and more.
Man, Victor. It's like, man, Victor, he tells that to Celine later on.
Yeah.
We're working our Stories by Irish. We're talking about the second one right now.
Yep.
Always have wings since he was the first vampire. That is never fully explained, Mr. Pete. We know that he's a hybrid.
Right.
I mean, chances are, bitten by bat, so chances are he did have the wings.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to speculate that he did have the wings.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I want to run between you, G-Fan, and now that Scott's in here. What do you think?
I think he did have the wings, but that form that he takes is a true hybrid form. But I'm thinking that, because if William was a complete werewolf, he would have had to have some.
He would have had to have some bat qualities.
Yeah, exactly. Not just the teeth. You know what I mean? It had to have been, something even more, more bat-like. And so I think he could fly, but I think I'm wondering if he kept that from the other elders for a reason.
Possibly.
Because it's like, almost kind of like that surprise. Oh, by the way, I can fly, so screw you.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think, open-minded?
What do I think of what?
Do you think that Marcus always had the bat form before he got the lichen blood from the first movie?
Well, I'll be perfectly honest. I haven't seen the second one in quite some time, but I'd say it's possible that he could have already had his bat lineage or the blood from the bat
form.
What's up?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, when he we said in earlier on with Victor that he was very regal. Bill Nye played him perfectly.
Yeah.
And you could tell with Tony Curran, who played Marcus, he did a great freaking job too with the regality. It's like the blood memories from this wretched creature has shown me that your treachery knows no bounds. He's like, my lord, I can explain. Why would I listen to your lies when the journey to the truth is so much sweeter? And now you could see movie mistakes being made in this sequence. When he bites him, you see the blood kind of off kilter a little bit.
Yeah.
Where the blood starts flowing. It's like he didn't bite him there, but the blood's coming way over here. You know.
Right, yeah.
So you can see the blood. You can see the blood pumps basically shoving it out through a different way. I mean, the second movie had a lot of mistakes in it.
Right.
That were very noticeable. Yeah, and the same open-minded. Haven't seen the movie in forever.
I think what kind of happened is I think they were kind of in a rush to get this out.
Yes, they were.
On the hype, but I think in doing so, when they did the script, they kind of made a couple oopsies.
Mm-hmm. Also, folks, be sure to drop a like in the for me, showing me support. I appreciate it greatly.
Yeah, if I recall,
also, do you notice
out in January of 2006?
Which one?
The second one, the second Underworld film.
Oh yeah.
But it seemed like you were gonna say something. I didn't mean to cut you off. So yeah.
It's okay. If you notice, Marcus's look as he came out of the crypt is different from when he is in the safe house looking for Celine and whatnot.
Right.
Because at that point he's in full bat mode.
Yeah.
Or he's in full bat look. You can see the ears and the kind of odd nose and whatnot. And you also see him searching the memories from the Lycan and even from Craven how to operate a computer. And you see those freaking long nails. And it's like, holy shit. And during this time, you see an old man is cleaning up the after events of the first movie.
Right.
Now, some people have an idea of who this person is, or to others, it's painfully obvious who it is. It's Alexander Corvinus. But to those who don't know, it's just some guy that's looking for vampires and werewolves and whatnot. And he's like Amelia, or his second in command is basically explaining all of what happened in the first movie. And when they show the footage of Amelia dead, if you pay close attention to that video footage, you'll see that footage was reversed and the people that are walking in the background are walking backwards.
Yes.
Because that was a shot from the first movie.
Yeah, I did notice that.
And it's like, you can just see so much wrong in this movie.
Yeah.
Underworld Evolution, great movie, but it did have a lot of flaws in it.
Yeah.
It had mistakes because it was rushed. Like G Fan said, it was a rushed movie. Or was that you that said it, Scott?
Yeah, it was rushed. That was me.
Or
But
yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite parts. Go ahead with the story.
No.
Oh, okay. So we see, pretty much Marcus giving chase to Celine and Michael,
Mm-hmm.
They get into like a battle, and it's almost daylight, so they're trying to hightail it to an area that's closed off.
Yeah, shelter.
And what I liked about it, it showed that even within a very small time frame, Michael starts to be able to control his power more. Like he actually just morphs his hand to cut the paint, to put paint over the windows to keep the sunlight from coming in. And so I like that little attention where it's like, yeah, he's starting to learn how to do some things. But one of the things that was really cool to me and very interesting is when he wants to go out, Celine's like, no, you can't just eat regular food. You're going to do something bad to somebody without even realizing it.
Normal food could be lethal, and if you don't anticipate your cravings, you will attack humans.
Yes, exactly. And like you can see it. He's trying to force down the beef stew or whatever he's eating, and it's like it's not agreeing with him. It's like, no, you need fresh meat.
His body's rejecting
blood.
it.
Yeah, yeah. And all the while, he's being hunted from the regular police for questioning.
Yeah, the authorities want him for questioning.
Yes.
And it's like, or the guy that's actually in the tavern that recognizes him, you also see he is like two different freaking cops in that whole fight scene between him and Celine, or the cops and Celine, because he's the first one that Celine takes out. He's also the last one that Celine takes out. The one that puts a shotgun into her stomach. And it's like, oh my god. It was just so funny.
Yeah. But
yeah. What did you think of the chase sequence?
That tells you what I think.
Scott?
Are you talking to me or Scott? Okay.
Oh, sorry. I know that Jeremy was on, so I was just typing in a comment on that section. But anyways, you were about to ask me. You were asking me something.
What was your favorite part of the chase of the cops chasing after Michael?
To be honest, I haven't seen it.
What are your thoughts on it and whatnot?
What are my thoughts? Well,
in a while. Okay, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that if there was a reason why they were chasing him, they thought he was a threat. But of course, do you think was Michael able to defend himself?
He was wanted from the first movie.
Yeah.
Is this
he
the first or
attacks
second
a person in the bar, or he attacks a cop because he didn't anticipate his cravings, and he sees himself in the mirror. His eyes are black, his teeth are out, and then he starts running because the cops recognized him when they said Michael Corbin. And he's like, yeah, that's Michael Corbin. And they pull out their AKs on his ass, and he decides to run because, well, yeah. But it's basically a battle before daylight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Marcus shows up. I know what you've done, Celine. Victor deserved his fate, and Craven was no better. And he actually agrees with it. He's like, Craven has already reaped the rewards of his own misdeeds, and Victor deserved his fate many times over.
Yes.
And then he basically says something that shakes her up. A terrible business, the slaying of your family, but so much effort was spent to conceal this matter from me. What do you think Victor had to hide? And she has no idea what he's talking about, and she played that very well. She's like, what is he talking about? But I'm also getting some very violent vibes off of him.
Yeah.
And so she tries pulling her gun, but he's way too fast for her.
Right.
And it was just really well done. Now, they do the whole chase where he's chasing them in the truck, and he fights Michael. And you see in this movie, when he transforms, he has a muzzle, a small but still pronounced muzzle, on his hybrid form that wasn't in the first movie. Right. And it's like, why? Why would you change that? He looked awesome in the first one. And then, oh my gosh, yeah, the effects for his second time, or his second transformation at Tanis's monastery was also really bad too.
Right.
But when you see the moves, you see like very familiar moves that Michael uses. The whole where he gets the hand, cracks him across the face.
Yeah.
You see the Lycan fighting style, basically.
Yes.
Or
Exactly.
is what they call the Lycan, or is what I call the Lycan fighting style.
Yeah.
But you also see freaking Marcus. He's there with a purpose. He knows that there's a chance that Williams, or he knows that Williams, one of the keys to Williams' cell is there, and he immediately he's like, okay, grab this, toss you, and he then goes after Celine, and eventually, to cut it short, Celine rams him up against a rock face, and he gets busted up. And as he's rolling down, if you look really closely, you can see the white trousers that he has underneath, or that the stunt guy had underneath.
Yeah.
From the harness and whatnot, and it's so funny. But yeah, then they get to the shelter. And they do their little sex scene. And if you watch it with the audio commentary, this is the funniest thing, man. They're like, how much is it going to cost for digital willy removal?
If you pay attention between Scott
Speedman and Kate,
yeah. I was trying to figure out their characters' names. I'm sorry.
Celine and Michael.
Celine and Michael, yeah. It's kind of disappointing that Scott Speedman never returned to the franchise after this second one.
Exactly. I think they actually did have him in the fourth one, which is Awakening.
Yeah, but it was a different actor for sure. It was definitely a stand-in actor, not Speedman himself. He appeared in like archive footage or something like when Celine was kind of.
Well, they did a digital face. They definitely did digital face replacement in it then, because they showed that they were tracking the hybrid and they saw the hybrid looking like this, looking back and forth, and it looked just like Speedman. The fifth movie, where it's revealed what happens, or his fate is revealed later on.
I haven't seen
that was a different actor altogether. But yeah, back to the second one, they do their thinking right after she has her orgasm, basically, where her eyes turn blue from all of it. What do they show? They show because they were talking about it in the audio commentary. It's like, originally it wasn't supposed to be Corvinus waiting for them and whatnot. It was originally this scene where it shows the water running off of the thing, and where Marcus is hiding out from daylight and whatnot. And it's like, oh damn, that would have just set everybody off and whatnot. It would have just, people would be dying laughing in the theaters and everything and whatnot. And I have to admit, when I first saw that movie, when I first saw all that, I honestly didn't get it because I wasn't fully versed in sexual shit. But yeah. Stories by Irish. I actually agree the first one is the absolute best of them.
Yeah.
I mean, the second one was objectively the worst. Well,
yeah.
A lot of people consider the third one the worst, actually.
Huh?
A lot of people didn't seem to like the third one, the prequel, the best.
I liked the prequel. I thought Rona Mitra was very good as Celine in that one.
Yeah.
But going back to the second, they find out, or she starts having memories from holding the pendant because she accidentally opens it, and she's like, "I've held this as a child." He's like, "How's that possible?" I don't know, but I know somebody who might. And they get to the monastery, and Andreas Tanis is supposed to be in exile, but right now he's busy fucking two vampire chicks, one with big ass tits, and another with a pretty nice ass. Which, if you see in the trailer, they kind of thicken out the underwear that she's wearing instead of the thong. But yeah. That's like, yeah, they would definitely have to fix that unless it was the Red Band trailer.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, just remember when they promoted Resident Evil, the very first Resident Evil, they actually used like blue blood for the trailer.
Oh yeah.
Then when of course in the film it's definitely red for sure, so.
Yeah. But and that's the thing, the Resident Evil movies and the Underworld movies were pretty close knit together. Not lore wise, but release wise.
Yeah, since they're both released by Sony and all them people.
Yeah. And then they get to there and it's like, we're probably going to be the first people you've seen in centuries. And you see frickin' Tannis, bugada.
Yeah.
Getting it on with the frickin' vampires.
Yeah.
And then he has Lycan bodyguards, and you see the new Lycan things, and it's like, well, okay, fuck that. They are not going to show you the old Lycan stuff. It's completely new Lycan look and whatnot. Which kind of sucks because if they had kept with the furry Lycans as the ones that couldn't change back,
right,
I would have liked that. Instead, they had the Lycans, the furry ones with all the Lycans, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
But that was it was the Lycan inconsistency that I call, which was the main problem with the franchise, because we'll explain why when we cover the third part.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have to move this more because I only want to do it for like 3 hours max, if you guys are up to it.
Yeah. Well, at like 10, I gotta leave. So.
All right. Well, then we'll go or we'll keep going. Basically, they get to Tannis, or they find out Tannis was selling arms to Lucian, UV rounds and shit, and he knows Celine, semi-intimate terms, so to speak. I mean, you get the idea that that he and her knew each other more than just she was his exiler or jailer.
Yeah.
There's like, but you also realize he really hates her, and he's like, and then she's like, Victor's dead. You killed Victor. And, no, I think not. And she looks at him, and he's like, oh, unless you figured out the truth. So your eyes are finally open. Okay, let's go to the whole reveal the past. And so the way that he goes full historian mode, and the way that he does it is so freaking great, because you can actually visualize some of the shit that he is saying that isn't shown.
Yeah.
Where he describes the difference between the Lycans of old and the newer ones, which were, and he calls them the very first werewolves. He doesn't call them Lycans.
Right.
Because if you think about it, William's pestilence which is what they called it in the third movie. Yeah. They were werewolves. They can't change back, so they call the newer generation Lycans.
Yeah.
And that is also explained in the third one as well.
Yeah.
It was only later generations that learned to channel their rage.
Yeah, exactly.
And William's appetite for destruction and rampage was insatiable, which is basically true. William could not be controlled. The only person that he would listen to was his brother.
Right.
And so they talk to Tannis, and Tannis puts him on the path to Corvinus, which they don't know is Alexander Corvinus yet.
Right.
And he opens the thing in front of Celine, the pendant that she brought, and she's like, "You're familiar with this, then?" And he's like, "Intimately." And then she notices the crest on his ring, and she's like, "You're Alexander Corvinus." He's like, "There was a time I was known by that name. By any name, though, I'm still your forefather." You could tell that this guy has been around for fucking phenomenal years.
Yeah, and
just by the way that he talks. Yeah,
he must have amassed an amazing amount of wealth, because the network that he has is like huge.
Yeah.
So you can, and what's kind of interesting is with his character. What I was always intrigued by is he kind of allows this all stuff to happen. He's just cleaning up the mess after it happens. It's almost like
they ask him about it. And they actually confront him about it. It's like, couldn't you have stopped? And she's like, yeah. Could you kill your own sons?
Yeah.
It basically comes down to it. Could you kill your own sons?
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody could.
No.
And even up to his death, he couldn't do it.
Yeah, exactly. And
he let his son kill him.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing, too, because he literally is a father cleaning up his kid's mess. That's literally how it's
He never allowed... And Celine basically shoves everything back in him. He's like, everything I have done can be laid at your feet. Hundreds of thousands have died because of your inability to acknowledge that your sons are monsters and that they create monsters. You could have stopped all of this. And he tries with a half-hearted response, don't come groveling to me because you're weaker than your adversary. And she's like, you know the devastation William caused before he was captured. He can't be set free. But, well, Marcus had already found Tanis, and I just love the dialogue between them. He's like, Victor struck 2 keys. Keys, I don't know any keys. Talons, pulls him over. Yeah. And he's just looking at him. He's like, you're really going to bullshit me right now? Mm-hmm. He's like, oh, right. Those keys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He still kills him.
One was kept in plain sight, draped around his daughter's neck, right there for you to see. And the other, kept with Victor at all times. Where? Within him. Beneath the flesh. And he's like, okay, feed on him. And that was a bad cutting right there, man, because when he pulls the thing, or when he pulls his clothing back, and then you see an actual cut there, and you see Tony Curran coming in to bite him, and that was another bad cut, and you can't unsee that stuff when you see it.
Oh yeah. And like I said, with the technical issues, with them trying to rush this out, But one of the things too, if you really think about it too, they even said they didn't have a big budget for any of these, so they had to work with what they could. When it came to the editing, they just had to take the best scene they could and stick it in there.
Oh yeah, it was a hodge. The second one was not done well, but it was still entertaining to watch. Yes. And so Marcus gets there, he smacks one dude. They actually had to use the same thing, but they flipped that scene, and they also used the second shot camera to use it. But Marcus basically slaughters everybody, gets the other key, drinks Celine's blood to find out where his brother's being kept, and he also kills Michael.
Yeah.
Which, it's like, you're a vampire. Why would you rip that damn thing out of his chest? Why would, instead of ripping that out of his chest, why wouldn't you just lift him up? Yeah. You're a vampire. You could do that.
Yeah.
But it's, even the freaking directors during the audio commentary it's like, yeah, we could have done that totally better, but we didn't.
Yeah.
But then this is the turning point where Celine truly becomes a badass, because she is gifted with something that no other immortal has been gifted with, and that is the blood of Corvinus. Yes. And the way that you could tell she channels it is her eyes, which when she goes vampire mode are normally a bright blue.
Yes.
But when she's channeling Corvinus's strength, her eyes go ice blue.
Yes.
And I love how when she's actually feeding on him, she opens her eyes, you see the flashing and whatnot, and you hear the clashing of swords. Basically, you can see that she is absorbing a lot of memories of battles from Corvinus.
And I love how he says, when she asks, what will I become? He's like, the future. It's like
the future.
Yeah.
It's basically, he's saying, I don't know.
Yeah.
But you're definitely going to become stronger than what you are.
Yeah.
And so they go to the castle where William was imprisoned. Marcus gets him out. But everybody, or the cleaners, as I call them, are helping Celine. It's like they only have UV rounds. They're not going to be able to kill William. And they find the key. They realize, or Marcus gets it, and he's like holding up the torch, and you see just a tiny flicker of movement in the half second that William is still awake, or William's just awake, and he's like, ah! And it's like, oh damn. He's like, "Be still, brother. It's me. Hey." He's just like, "Hey, wait."
Yeah.
Like, wait. And then, okay, I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna kill you. And it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's me, brother. Yeah. I would not hurt you. And you can see immediately that William calms down.
Yeah, he recognizes
because he finally does. Now they say that they're twins. I wonder if they were identical twins. It kind of makes you wonder, were they identical or fraternal? What do you think?
Yeah, I think they were twins. It's that connection, that link. I think that's what it is. Because do
you think that they were identical or fraternal?
I think they were identical, and the reason why I say that is, they say, especially with identical twins, sometimes they can finish each other's sentence or feel what the other's feeling. And he even says to his father, "It's like, you're sitting here while William's in pain."
You can never acknowledge.
Yeah, and he even says William's still in pain. Like it's almost as if he can feel him still in pain.
Mm-hmm.
Being locked up for eternity, like can't die.
Like, you stood by for half a century while William suffered alone in darkness.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
you really see how.
Yeah.
So, what do you think, Scott? Do you think that William and Marcus were identical twins or fraternal twins?
Who? I know that GF or G-Fan said they were identical. Did you think they were identical too, Orange Hat?
I think that they could have been identical, yes. But it could be that they were fraternal as well.
Yeah.
I mean, twin bonds happen with both versions.
Right.
Well, wasn't William the wolf?
Yes, but if he was human form, would he look like his brother or would he look different?
Look different, yeah.
Did it ever really dive down to say if they were identical twins or not, or if they were actually twins in general?
They said they only said that they were the twin sons of Alexander Corvinus.
Yes.
I feel like it can go either way. Maybe identical, but fraternal. Yeah. It's never really addressed, but yeah.
Yeah, it is.
That's my opinion.
And then, the whole fight sequence. Then you find, or they brought Michael with them, and it's like, why are you bringing him with them? Right. But anyway, it's good that they did because Michael, you're unique. There's never been a hybrid before. Your powers could be limitless. Well, of course they're limitless. His ass wakes up, and he comes down just as she's about to get her ass killed by a couple of guards that William turned.
Yes,
because she also locked Marcus in the area where the key was used, and then they then as soon as she sees Michael again, she's like, or it's like, don't tell me you guys are about to fuck right now. You guys are locked in with a huge ass werewolf, which he indeed crashes in between, and then you see the fight between William and Michael and Marcus and Celine, and I just wish the fight could have lasted longer with William and Michael.
Yeah, I felt that was kind of rushed.
Dispatch him really quickly, and it's like,
he like broke his jaw or something, or just
he rips his head, or he rips the top half of his head clean off.
Yeah. And I wish they could had a little more of a fight scene between him and Marcus, I think, too, as well.
Yeah, I mean, Marcus and Celine did a pretty good fight. It was the one between William and Michael that is like, this is the most powerful werewolf ever. Yes. Why would he be dispatched so quickly, even if Michael is a hybrid?
Right.
Because remember, this is the werewolf.
Yeah.
And you can even tell because when they fought, they traded blows, and Michael hits William, and then William hits Michael, and Michael goes flying right into a freaking wall and collapses that damn wall. And it's like, that is how powerful he is, but because Michael is faster and whatnot, he does get the upper hand, and you hear the blood-curdling roar of William before he gets his head ripped off.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is an interesting roar. But yeah, man, I absolutely loved the look of William. It was a classic werewolf look, and Pat Totopoulos acknowledged that William was the first werewolf, so he would have to look like a wolf.
Yeah.
And whatnot. And there was 2 versions of William. The winter, or the beginning of the movie version, was hairier and whatnot, and then the second one, less hair.
Right.
And it's like, I like the second one better because it was cleaner and more touched up and whatnot.
Right.
It was more improved. And then Celine, Mortal Kombat's Marcus.
Yeah.
And you find out she can stay in the sun.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, the third one is basically kind of takes place with, you see some of what happens in the first movie.
Yes.
But you see, or it's much more fleshed out. Basically,
yes.
Lucian was a child of a werewolf that was of William's pestilence. And William's pestilence, the very first werewolves that can be changed, you see in the beginning of the second movie, which are the furrier lycans that look like the older lycans, but with more fur. Now they look like William, but they're not white. They're brown and darker colored. And it's like...
Excuse me, Arch. Before you go on, I just want to let you know I haven't actually seen the third one, so...
Well, alrighty, so I won't spoil too much of it for you then.
I just know it's more of a backstory dealing with Victor and all them people, because I do know that...
Yes, it is a backstory. It is the story between Lucian and
Michael Sheen came back to that one, too.
Yep.
Yes, Michael Sheen came back as Lucian. You also see Ray's in it and whatnot. You see the fights. You see basically what kicks off the war.
Yes.
Now, have you seen the other 2 or the 2 after movies?
I always saw Awakening. I did get Blood Wars, but I heard that was probably, I guess, considered the worst one, I think.
Blood Wars indeed was the worst one because they went into the mysticism part. And it's like, no, please don't. The mysticism is, I just wouldn't do it.
Right.
I mean, freaking Speedy Gonzalez there just wasn't. It's like, no. The story was compelling though, but the mysticism part was just, it's like, no, just don't.
Just out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's like, we had a great thing with the first one and whatnot, but they still had some badass freaking female characters in it. Now, I was watching the special features of Blood Wars, and they're like, and they started talking about the whole strong females, this, and it's like, don't do that. Don't do that. Because this was during the whole woke era.
Yeah.
But it didn't come across as woke.
Right.
Except for one character, but I'm not going to spoil that. But the movie was, or you guys have seen Awakening, so you know of Celine's daughter, who is basically 75% vampire and 25% lichen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Blood Wars gives you a 75% lichen and 25% vampire.
Oh, okay.
So they changed it quite a bit. They flipped it.
No, they basically give you, or this new enemy, or the new baddie in this movie, is a 25% vampire, but 75% lichen. And it's pretty fucked up how you figure out how he becomes that. But I'm not going to spoil it.
Right.
But,
oh, I thought you were talking about Celine's daughter. I thought you were...
No, she is still the 75-25 vamp to lichen.
So.
But I liked her character. I mean, everybody says that the woman who played her was 13, and it's like, no, I think she was actually 18 years old when she played a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
Now, what'd you guys think of what they called the Uber lichen, big boy lichen, giant thingy?
In Underworld Awakening, you mean?
Yeah.
Pretty decent, I guess.
Good, decent design, but like you said, I kind of really rather them stay with kind of the original look, less hair, and but I mean,
I thought it was interesting that they made him a fucking giant, but it's like, I mean, they did have a little bit of touch-up changes here and there. Now, here's the question. How did the vampires and werewolves get outed, do you think?
Well...
And yes, Mr. P, it was one of the Nordic vampires.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, too. In the second one, with Corvinus pretty much dying and then his whole organization collapsing, there's no one to clean up the mess. So eventually someone's going to figure it out. That's how I saw it.
That's an interesting view. Scott?
The question was, what do I think how the vampires pretty much...
How do you think they all got outed? How do you think the world became aware of them?
That's a good question. I don't know. It could have been someone from the inside that may have leaked some information, or someone... I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine.
Well, the way I figured it, it was Corvinus that did it.
Corvinus.
Because you know that he was cleaning up the mess.
Yeah.
And there is a chance that he would possibly not be able to. If something never happened, the world would have to.
Yes.
So chances are, if at the event of his death, he would have, or he would release the information of werewolves and vampires and whatnot to the world, where they... But because of the beginning of the Awakening movie, it's basically they're talking as if that sort of didn't happen. It was as if the world had discovered them without any help.
Yeah, but I don't know. See, that I really didn't like Awakening that much because of that. I kind of was like, wait, where are we going with this? That was my biggest thing. Where are we going with this now?
I mean, the thing is, the way I saw it, there's two ways that can support it and not support it. The way that the science or that the community describes it, or the news describes it, is that they discovered these, or they discovered them.
Right.
But when they are looking actively for Celine and Michael, they say, we have the hybrid in sight. And it's like, how do you know he's a hybrid?
Right.
So the only way that you would know that is if you had intimate knowledge of the operations.
Right. See.
So, yeah.
Or you think it's just bad writing? Revealed.
Bad writing, indeed.
Yeah, I mean, I guess going back, just a little bit into the third one, I know you haven't seen it, Scott, so I'm not really going to do any spoilers, but there's a scene where these regular people are paying tribute to Victor, and he gets mad because they're pretty much bleeding them dry, and he's like, we've all heard the stories. So they had a hint, but again, it was either rumors or just, stories.
Yeah, they thought it was just a curse.
Yeah, exactly. So
but that was back in the day where anything that is different is possibly witchcraft,
True. Well, then again, believe it or not, that people still think that to this today. So, let's be honest on that one.
I do love the line that Victor gives in that scene later on, but we won't spoil that.
Yeah, we're not going to really go into that. But, with Awakening, I guess that's why I'd never watched the last one, because I kind of lost a bit more interest in it, because I was like, they're going with this now.
I actually recommend you do watch Blood Wars, because it has an interesting twist.
Okay.
I mean, it comes full circle, basically.
Okay.
Is how it's described. The whole thing comes full circle.
Without spoiling the ending, but does it actually tie up the series, or does it not? It
ties it up very well, actually, and it does kind of leave the ending slightly open, but not too open.
Okay,
You're saying it actually wraps it up okay, despite the mysticism element that wasn't needed?
The mysticism element, it does not impact the story too much. I mean, it just or basically every religion or order or whatever has a different segment, so to speak,
right?
Or has a different sect, so to speak. So the vampires, they go to a coven that has a different outlook.
I got you.
And have discovered new pathways to power, so to speak. But you also find out a great deal of this new character. Theo James' character actually plays a very big role in the 5th one. I'm not going to reveal what. All I'm saying is that you guys might find it interesting.
Okay.
And with that, because otherwise it would start getting into spoilers if we do go into the 3rd and 5th, we are going to start wrapping it up.
Okay. That's fine.
But how about you? I was going to ask one thing. What do you think of Stephen Ray as the villain in the 4th one? Considering he was kind of like a villain in the... Well, not necessarily a villain, but he was in an Interview with a Vampire. He played a vampire. Now, I believe he played a Lycan in the 4th one. So
he played a Lycan that was that was just starting to juice up. And I got to say, that was actually a pretty interesting thing where when you see Selene lay siege to the Lycan lab,
right,
where they're shooting at her and whatnot, and she's walking upstairs, just kind of like Terminator-ish.
Yeah.
Or she just barely flinches as she's getting shot, and you see that guy running up, having his Lycan teeth. It's like she's looking at him like, here, doggy, doggy, doggy. But man, when she went off. And the way that she tackled the van in the 4th one was freaking awesome too.
Yeah, that was a good sequence.
I mean, it's like, mommy is coming, honey. And she just literally linebackers that fucking van. It's just like, holy shit.
Now,
I mean, there was... yeah. Go ahead.
Did Wiseman direct all of them?
No, he only did the first 2, I think.
He did the first 2. The 3rd one was Patrick Tatopoulos.
Yeah.
That was his directorial debut.
Oh, okay.
And the 4th one was some Romanian guys.
Oh, okay.
And the 5th one was directed by a female director or something.
Yeah, the 5th one was a female director. Okay. And it did kind of... I won't say it was woke, because it wasn't.
Right.
They realized that if they did... Or I think they realized you could push female empowerment, because there are a bit of a bigger female presence in the 5th one.
Okay.
But it's not enough to say that it's woke, so to speak.
All right. That's fine. Well, that's like, I was just wondering, because if Wiseman had a chance to direct the 4th one, to do, to continue the story he was, from the 2nd one, what do you think? Do you think he would have chosen the same direction, or do you think he would have went a different way, in your opinion?
I think he possibly would have went a different way, but the question is, how do you up the stakes after you've killed the progenitors of the species?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the only other way is...
Maybe Wiseman... Oh, sorry.
The only way that you would do it is enhancing the species that you have, which they did.
Yeah. Because that was kind of like the... I'll be like, to be honest with you, I actually, after the 3rd one, I thought they were just going to end the series and just say, it's left for your interpretation, because, especially with Selene, being able to walk in the sunlight, kind of showing, okay, this is, what you think will happen. Yeah. Well, I always think it was kind of interesting that they chose the name Selene, because her name means moon, the moon.
Yeah, it's moon, or it's the moon goddess from Greek myth.
Yeah, which is what the Lycans used to use to change. So it's like a very interesting way of saying it. When Wiseman first wanted to do this project, he pretty much pitched it as Romeo and Juliet, but with werewolves and vampires.
Yeah, exactly. And the way that he described Corvinus in the second one was a kind of Obi-Wan meets meets something else, and it's like I remember Sir Derek Jacobi from Gladiator.
Yes.
And he also had he played a senator in that movie.
Yes.
Which stood against Caesar, but anyway.
Yeah.
I actually thought that Derek Jacobi did a great freaking job as Corvinus.
Yes,
because
I did.
He kept the regality of of ages past.
Mm-hmm.
And you could just tell by the way he walked or talked to his son, you are unwelcome within or in my presence.
Right.
It's like you could tell he's from another time, and he's never really updated his speak, so to speak.
Exactly. You know,
he did stay with the technology. He updated with technology, but he didn't update with his speak.
Oh, and his mannerisms, yeah. And
he stayed regal.
I kind of like that, to be honest with you.
That's one way of putting it, Pete. That's one way of putting it.
It's Twilight for dudes. Well, actually, Michael Sheen was in Twilight as a vampire.
Yeah, he played a vampire.
So, yeah.
You wanted to say something, Scott?
Yeah, I know I can't. What do you want me to comment on? Maybe it was. And I remember I was going to comment. I was figured if Lynn Wiseman were to direct the fourth one, he might have introduced more as to the reason why how Ward got around about the vampires and stuff like that. Maybe, who knows? Maybe he could have upped the stakes, kind of similar to what was shown with Stevie Ray's character and whatnot. So that's what I was going to say. So, but yeah, I definitely think there would have been at least somewhat a 50% change in direction for the fourth one. It's too bad he couldn't do the fifth one. I guess he doesn't like doing those films anymore. And
they kind of got away from him because he was moving on to other things.
Right.
And he had married Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah, I think they're divorced now, if I'm not mistaken.
I think they are divorced, and I think she has the kid.
Yeah. But off topic, did you guys ever see the movie I, Frankenstein?
I have seen a little bit of it. That's the one with
Eckhart,
right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Gargoyles and the demons.
Aaron Eckhart, yeah. Bill Nighy's in that film too.
Yeah, and so is the guy Grievous, the guy who played
Kevin Grievous.
Yeah, he's in it too.
Grace. Nice.
Yeah, he's a producer for that movie.
Oh,
because he always liked that story, and it literally feels like Underworld just with gargoyles and demons. That's how I put it.
I'm gonna have to get that movie to watch it.
It's actually very interesting. It's one of those movies where you really have to follow the story closely, or else you might be a bit lost. It's the Frankenstein story, but they added a war between. He's in the middle of a war between the gargoyles and the demons.
Yeah.
And what's cool about that movie is they actually refer to him as Adam, which was in the original book. That's the first time in the movie they actually said the Frankenstein monster's actual name, Adam. That's the first time they actually
given name.
Yeah, apparently there was going to be an Underworld crossover with I, Frankenstein or something like that. But since I, Frankenstein flopped from what I read, I don't think
it did flop. It came across, or it had a theatrical release, but it came across, or the effects were basically Sci-Fi Channel effects.
Yeah. Well, it even had it had a lot of the cast from Underworld because, like I said, Grievous produced it, so he got Bill Nye. He got the woman in the first one, the blonde vampire who wanted Craven. She's in it. Yeah, she's in it. It's like he got all the cast from the original to come back, and I think they wanted to do that, but then it just fell through.
Funny thing about the character of Erica, or the actress that played her, she played in a show about a vampire, but she played a human in that one. It was on it was on CBS.
Oh.
I think they called it Moonlight.
Oh, okay.
It was the guy that played the vampire was the guy that plays in Hawaii Five-0 as Garrett or McGarrett.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, folks.
Yeah.
I am going to start closing this up because.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah, I want to thank Scott, aka Open Minded Movie Man, for dropping by. I want to thank GFan84 for stopping by.
Yep.
And I want to thank all of my viewers who were in the chat. I thank you guys, Kamen Rider, Mr. Pete, Stories by Irish, and Soul Assassin. I know you were in there. Tay Clark, thank you for dropping by. I'm sorry I didn't highlight this earlier, but we were trying to. I wanted to stay on topic of Underworld tonight, but I do thank you for dropping by as well. And who else did we have in here? There was Adiga Outlaw, Ambassador. Thank you all for stopping by, folks. Anyway, before I go, I always allow my guests to give a plug to their channel. So, Open Mind, give your channel a plug before we head out.
Okay, alrighty. Well, once again, thanks for having me on Orange Chat. It's always a pleasure. I'm Open Minded Movement. I do reviews. I do some cowboy-related stuff. Sometimes I sometimes do live streams whenever I feel up to it. Maybe I might do some other reviews like music. I tend to do something relating to Rush. Maybe book reviews, but that's like way, way ahead in the future. But anyways, feel free to drop by my channel, give me a like, and I'll keep bringing out the content as best as possible. So take it away, G-Fan.
Yep. All right. Well, if you weren't here at the beginning, G-Fan84, my YouTube channel, just letting you know, I cover, usually I do live streams with guests, or I've been doing some gaming. You can see me get my ass kicked in gaming because I'm terrible, but I love playing. But yes, and then I'm on Twitter at Kaiju4284. So,
and with that, folks, I am going to call it tonight. But you two definitely see all of the movies.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll have to pick up the 5th one then.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys want, I could possibly give you my movies anywhere login, but
nah, that's okay.
I do have them on Blu-ray. I just have to kind of rewatch them to get familiar with them. So yeah,
I'm sure the last one's on sale somewhere. So
oh, you'll find Blood Wars for like $5 now.
Yeah,
that's why I think I may have. Yeah, that's why how much I paid for around $5 or so during Black Friday.
Oh, real quick though, before you go, if you want to, I am doing a live stream later this week. If you want to come on, it's going to be my last live stream for a while because I'm actually going to trucking school, and I'm going to be gone for like 3 weeks.
Night, Kamen Rider. And yes, that's right. I heard you got your CDL license. Congratulations.
That's you, man. Congrats.
Thanks.
And yeah, if you guys want to come on, by, man.
I'll DM everyone about like when and what time. So.
Yep. Me, I like to show up early to make sure I get there. So yeah, shoot me the link like an hour or so. That way I have the link and whatnot.
Okay, of course.
Anyway, folks, y'all know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. This has been Orange Hat Review and guests, and I'll catch you all on the next one.
Bye-bye, y'all.